Hi, my name's Rich Litvin. I'm the founder of 4PC, and I'm the co-author of a book called The Prosperous Coach. The Prosperous Coach is a book that was published just over five years ago. It sold over 50,000 copies. It still sells 1,000 copies a month. It's a book about coaching and how to build a coaching practice. But truthfully, it's got nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It's a book about how to be more you than you've ever been. How to have conversations with people who fascinate you. How to enroll people in a mission that's bigger than you. A mission that scares you. And that's what 4PC is. 4PC is a program for extraordinary leaders and extraordinary coaches. And what I want to do today is speak to that. It's my mission. It's my passion project. In fact, it's my 25-year project. I made a commitment 5 years ago that I'm in for the next 25 years. It's even hard to say, right? I've never made a commitment that big in my life before, but I'm in, and I'm fully in. So let me take you back in time. There was a moment 6 or 7 years ago when I got a tax bill of $300,000. I realized two things. One, it was time to change my accountant. I needed somebody new. Two, I didn't have many people in my world I could share that with. And what I wanted was to share that with people who would say, oh yeah, been there, done that. That's a great achievement. That's something really positive because it means you've made a massive impact in the world. And that's why you're paying tax based on the revenue you've brought in. And wouldn't it be great if you paid even more tax next year because you'd made even bigger impact? I decided I wanted to create a community of people who played a game bigger than me. I wanted to create a community of people who were willing to challenge my thinking, to push me, to stretch me. People think success is this destination you get to, and then you put your feet up and you sip cocktails all day, every day by the beach. And that's not been my experience. I've coached and I'm friends with people at extraordinary levels of success. I spent time with a single billionaire. I spent time with many multimillionaires and millionaires. I've spent time with super successful people in business, in life. And my experience of successful people is they love the journey. So whilst they might slow down and have a few cocktails on a beach, that's not how they want to live their life. They're up for a bigger game, up for something more extraordinary, up for something more fascinating. And I wanted to put a community of people like that together. And so I did. And it was edgy. I remember the first time speaking this out loud. So I crafted this in my mind, right? You ever done this? You ever crafted a program that sounds so great in your head and then even better on paper? And then you start to speak it out loud for the first time. So I'm at one of my intensives. We have 100 people in the room. And I start to speak about 4PC, which sounds so amazing in my head. And my words come out messed up and I get tongue-tied. And at that moment, my son, who must have been 2 or 3, had come into the room and he was sitting on my lap. And I thought I was nervous because my son was there. So I said, let's have a break. And I gave him back to my wife. And we came back into the room. And I said, you know what? I've got to call myself out. I was stressed because in my head, I designed this amazing program called 4PC, the 4% Club. It's a group for the top 20% of the top 20%, extraordinary leaders and coaches. And when I put that out there, I got nervous. The voices in my head were loud. Who are you to do that? And so I'm sorry, but I am passionate about this. And I do want to create this. And it's going to be something fucking extraordinary. And I'm calling myself out that I don't quite know how to say it in a way that sounds good and works well in this moment. And as soon as I said that, it was either Mark or Allison, but one of them went, I'm in. And I'm in because you messed that up and didn't get it right. And then the other one, Mark or Allison, said, I'm in too. And I just sat back for a second and thought, oh, geez, this is it. It's real. It's funny remembering that because it was edgy to put this into the world. And now we're 5 years into 4PC. And the community of people we've created have been extraordinary. They're people who I love and they're people who I admire. You know, one of the entrance requirements of 4PC is it's okay for you to be a little bit in admiration of me or anyone else in the group, but we also have to be in admiration of you. It has to be this sense of peers. And that's edgy for me. It would be much easier for me to lower the bar and say anyone can come into this group. I could have made a lot more money. I turned away dozens and dozens of people over the years because it wasn't the right program for them, at least at that time. I don't want to create 4PC for anyone. I want to create it for some extraordinary people. And the game they play can be very different. Look, let me tell you my sweet spot. My sweet spot is coaching leaders who have a track record of success in another field and have come into coaching. So we have a member of 4PC right now who's the former chief marketing officer for Harley Davidson. We have a member of 4PC who's a former Navy SEAL. It couldn't be more different. We have a member of 4PC. She was one time the assistant chief scientist to the high performance wing of the Air Force. We've got a member of 4PC who's a track record of success as an entrepreneur building businesses. There's a member of 4PC, our community in 4PC, who's a former airline pilot. If you've got a track record of success in another field, you're my peeps. I haven't got a cool way of saying that. My gift is in taking you and working with you to really fly as a coach. So you see, you know what? Throughout most of human history, there was no such word as coach. Coaching was a skill that was known innately by leaders. If you're a great leader, you know how to nurture your people. You know how to challenge your people. You know when to nurture them and when to challenge them. You know when to up the game and when to lower the game. You know how to coach. It is an innate leadership skill that powerful leaders have. And we've forgotten that. We think it's this thing called coaching. No, it's a part of one of the most powerful leadership skills on the planet. And so if you have a background in leadership, then that's why I have this gift in working with you to take that into another area, whether it's consulting or coaching or a hybrid of the two. Helen came to me 3 years ago. She said, I was the senior vice president of a billion-dollar healthcare company. I've been a coach for about a year, and it's stressful because I wake up every morning and by noon, I'm still sitting in my pajamas and I've got no one to speak to. My community, who are also CEOs and senior vice presidents, don't want to hear from me. They don't care. What a quality problem you have, Helen, that you're sitting around in your PJs at noon. But for her, it was incredibly lonely. It was incredibly lonely to be on this journey as a coach and consultant and have nobody around her who played a big game. She was making about $20,000 a year when she started working with me. Within 2 years of being in 4PC, she's now making $500,000 a year. Her clients are the corporations that she used to work for. We forget sometimes that our journey doesn't stop when we become a coach and then we're a baby coach. I coached a woman called Varian the other day. She's a founder member of 4PC, and I coached her on a webinar live, and she was looking at herself that way, that she was new to coaching. Just 2 years in, she'd quit the corporate world after 24 years. And I pointed out to her that she was actually 24, 26 years in to this life that she was creating with an extraordinary track record as a leader, as a salesperson doing multi-million-dollar complex sales in the corporate world. And she cried. She cried. She was a single mother in her 20s and said, I'm going to raise my son and give him a life that he will love living. I'm not going to be a statistic. She came into 4PC and she's flying. Some of you may know her. Karen came into 4PC. Karen had a background as a fundraiser. She worked for Jewish charities, raised over $500 million over years as a fundraiser. Amazing gifts she has, and came into coaching and heard me share one concept. You see, powerful coaching is based around insight. It's not time-based. And all I shared with her was this idea of, if you're the most interesting person in the room, you're in the wrong room. She flew back from her first time at 4PC, got to the airport, sat in the waiting room and said to herself, who's the most interesting person in the room? Now, Karen's a 5'0" woman from, where do you come from, Karen? Ohio. And there was an African-American man there, 6'5", rings all over all of his fingers. She just went up to him and said, hey, you look like the most interesting person in this room. Let's talk. When you approach someone with that energy, it's really intriguing. It doesn't mean they'll all say yes, but he said yes. So Karen went from having no clients to having half a dozen clients in the NFL. And she now teaches some of the top players at the NFL. Look, I'm sharing this because this is my passion. This is something I committed to for 25 years. This is something that I said, hey, I'm creating something that's going to shift the planet. And it's going to do it because that's what coaches do. As coaches, we get to leverage the impact we have working with a few extraordinary clients. Whilst I can talk about 4PC and share my passion, what I'm interested in is your passion. Where are your clients up to something extraordinary? And where can we turn up the dial on that? Where are you up to something extraordinary? And where can we turn up the dial on that? So post in the chat right now, because I want to work with a few of you. I wanted to share my passion so you get what it's like to feel the energy of having something that you're committed to for 25 years. And what it's like that when you commit to that and you see the results of your clients and you see your clients flying and you see your clients turning into superheroes, that you can feel this sense of pride. And I love that I can share that. And I want to see if I can draw that out from you. I want to see what you have that's on the table right now, that's edgy, that looks impossible, that scares you. Because this is what we do. And this is what I want to do. So post in here and let me know what you have, where do you have a stake in the ground? Where would you like to plant a stake in the ground? Where do you have a mission that looks so freaking scary that you're not yet ready to say yes to it? So I'm going to start to read some of the comments right now and see what you want to bring in. And then I want to work with you. And I can't work with everybody, but I want to work with a few of you. So give me a moment. Let's have a look in. Great. So Pat, I love it. You say helping people that have pain and a life of suffering, helping them to live an amazing life. That's great. And it's such an abstract concept that I can't yet dive in with you to say, how can I help you with that? So let's see, is there more to that? What is that? What's underneath that? So if I was going to work with you, I've got something meaty to dig into. Let me see, it's moving up. Lou, what do you do if you feel like you've lost, where is this, your passion and direction? Be okay with it, Lou. That's okay. We don't always have passion and direction. This passion I'm bringing right now, the reason I'm sharing these stories about the clients I'm proud of, the members of 4PC, is because it's here fully, but I don't always have it. It comes and goes. And when it's not there, just breathe. Just take your time. It's not good to move without that. And so maybe it's time for you to sit still for a while. Or maybe it's time to take a risk and move without passion and direction. There's an interesting exercise for you. What if you didn't have to have passion and direction? What if passion and direction weren't necessary? What would you do then? AK, you work around sensual dance for women, and it's a hard topic to talk about. Well, is it hard for you to talk about or hard for them to hear? If it's hard for them to hear, I get it. And what we do isn't for everybody, but your job is to polarize people. Not to piss them off, that's up to them, but to polarize them, because you want zeros and tens. I created 4PC, it's for the top 20% of the top 20% of leaders and coaches. Some of the shit, the ideas and the concepts that I teach, I share for everybody. And the community is not for everybody. Maybe your work around sensual dance for women isn't for everybody, but get past your fears and share it anyway. Some people are going to love you whatever you do and whatever you teach, AK. And some people, I won't be able to stand you whatever you do, whenever you teach. Most of the people on the planet won't ever know you existed. Your job is to share what you're passionate about. Nan says, my passion is working with high-performing female leaders who want to transition out of corporate and build the careers and lives they truly desire. Okay, give me something more than that, Nan. I need to know, like, so what? Why are you doing this? Like rip this heart open and tell me why you're doing this. So for me, whilst I might sound confident and a man on purpose and on mission right now, my story, the future I'm creating, these next 25 years of 4PC, is informed by this history of mine. And it goes back to me being a little boy who felt powerless, a little boy who struggled with confidence, a little boy who spent most of his life trying to prove himself to his father. Well, it turns out if you try and prove yourself to your dad, that you also end up trying to prove yourself to many, many people. And so out of my pain and my struggle, some of my gifts came. I learned to be able to speak to an audience. I learned to be able to be a teacher was my first part of my career, and then a coach. And that story, that little boy who felt nervous, felt insecure, it turns out my gift is that I see your power. And no matter where you're hiding from that, I see it, because I felt powerless for so much of my life. And I'm gifted at seeing the power in people who look powerful to most others. So you can fool most people, but there's a place where I'm not fooled on that, and I will call you out to a higher level of power. And it came from my struggle. It came from my pain. Okay, I'm skimming through here. Surin, you say I have a big vision, but absolutely no track record. I'm going to call bullshit on that. We all have a track record. We've all done something in our lives. You know, one of the gifts about being a dad is I saw my little boys come into the world and they couldn't walk and they couldn't talk. It was amazing to me. We taught the boys sign language before they could speak, and to watch the boys signing and then to see them speaking. And then a year ago, I went into Kaleo's new school. He started in kindergarten, and I said, hey, I'm a little bit worried to the teachers because he can't read yet. And I see some of the other kids can read. Don't worry, they said. Within a year, we know what we're doing. They'll be at the same level. I went into Kaleo's room to wake him up the other day. And as I went in, I saw the light was on, which I thought was strange. And there he was, reading a book on his own in bed in the morning. Oh, that was amazing. So you have a track record of doing extraordinary things, Surin. You just don't, you're too close to them to see how extraordinary they are. And the mundane can be extraordinary. So it's just time to relook at what you've done. And you just heard me share my track record of pain and struggle. You know what? Most of what I learned about leadership comes from the extraordinarily bad leaders and poor leadership examples I had in my career in the world of education. I wished for years that I had great role models as leaders, and I didn't. It was very, very rare. But I learned not to do this and not to do that and not to do that. That's your track record. Oh, Leslie, so you're a real estate agent. I love that. I love, you know, one of the things about realtors is you know how to sell. That's an extraordinary skill. It's a really wonderful skill. And one of my team members, Andy, came to work with me. If you ever read you can Google the article, how I hired a millionaire as my personal assistant. Andy came to work for me because she was enrolled in the passion we have for 4PC. And she had a business for 25 years as a realtor here in LA. Her clients are celebrities. Many of them have been with her for 25 years. And she had another business with her husband creating bespoke furniture. And she had another business in the art field. And she came to work for us because she felt this passion. I love it when I see someone who has a passion and they want to shift careers. I love that. I had to get fired to shift careers. I am always in awe of people who take their courage in their hand and say, I'm stepping out into another field. Is it Ilana or Lana? I've been in the corporate world for 20 years, holding executive positions, but not much fulfillment. We have a life of fulfillment, or we have a life of obligation. I know that world. I want meaning in my life and working with skills and talents that I haven't fully utilized. So many people in South Africa that can help with my skills. I love that. That's my mission too. And I see so many people transition out of that world that is no longer right for them. For some people, the corporate world is perfect. But when it's no longer right, you've been an executive for long enough, when you've been an entrepreneur or a business owner for many, many years and you're tired, coaching and consulting for many of those people is a beautiful way to give back, to make a difference, create an extraordinary impact in the world, and make an extraordinary income. So I love that you're on that mission. Let's see. Sav says, my client is a neonatal ICU nurse who wants to create a support group or education program on supporting nurses in decompressing from the stresses, the tragedies, and emotional weight they deal with in their day-to-day work. Ooh, yeah. I've had a number of clients who work in the healthcare field. Kelly's a member of 4PC. Kelly, whoever said they didn't have a track record. So Kelly is not a coach. When she came to 4PC, she told me her story. Oh, this story still brings tears to my eyes. So in the world of healthcare in the United States, if there's been a tragedy, a little baby has died on an operating table. It's terrible, right? The family are distraught with grief, and so are the medical team. This isn't supposed to happen. Their job is to make sure people live and survive, but sometimes tragedies occur. And there's a moment when this could go terribly wrong, from litigation to anger to frustration. And Kelly has a background as a pastor, and she's brought into this room to sit with the grieving family and the grieving medical staff. And from a situation that could have gone to anger and frustration, they leave with a sense of peace and grace, understanding, and shared grief. I think Kelly's one of the most extraordinary people I've ever met. She's not a coach. She's not a professional speaker. She still works in the healthcare field. She came into 4PC because she knew there was something more for her than this. But I can tell, even as what I'm feeling as I tell this story, that I don't filter for 4PC based on a track record of what number you make on your bank balance. It's who you be. Jody says, I'm currently coaching at KW. I presume that's Keller Williams, the realtor. I'm not sure. Ready to walk away. It's not the environment for me. Spent the whole year training and learning new methods and built my own coaching company. Beautiful. I'm ready to jump and nervous at the same time. How do I know I'm doing the right thing? All right, Jody. Sarah, can we get Jody to join this call? I want to coach Jody. I don't know how we make that happen, but Sarah, you do what needs to happen to get Jody on. Or tell me what I need to do, and I'm going to keep looking through here of how I can speak to anyone else.
Rich, this is Sarah. Yeah. If Jody can just click the button to raise her hand, she should see it on the console if she's watching the webinar live.
Beautiful. So Jody, if you're here, raise your hand and we can play. While Jody's getting in, Anne, I love this. I'm committed to my life work, 40 years of professional development, from coaching and other directions, writing, speaking, and upgrading wedding ceremonies. I'm turning 70 now. 25 years takes me to 95. You know, Anne, there's this lovely story, right, about a woman who at 70 years old says to her family and friends, I'm going to start training to be a doctor. And they say, are you crazy? It's going to take you 10 years to become a doctor. And she says, well, I'm going to be 80 anyway. I love that you're on that path, Anne. That's awesome. Oh, Shelley, I love that you're in here. You replied to Lana about your work. That's great. Let's see who else is here. Vic, you're a chief happiness officer. I like that. Part of the leadership team that spent 10 years creating a company where people love to work in London from day one. It's addictive. I made my mission from 2013 to do it for other companies when I moved to LA. Oh, great. You're coming to LA. I love it. Another Brit moving to LA. I just went through my citizenship test the other day, about to become a citizen. I want to do it without feeling shy or embarrassed about creating happiness in the workplace. Okay, Vic, can you raise your hand too? And Sarah, can you let Vic come on as well? I'm going to work with Vic as well. Great. Let me see one more thing. Great. Kat, you say, Kat, can you raise your hand as well? I've done a lot of different things, from managing the presidential campaign of the first Black woman to be on the ballot in all 50 states, to working as a private investigator on Wall Street, to being a managing partner in an award-winning design studio. Kat, come on as well. Let me play with you. I'm transitioning to working with clients who are playing in a bigger field and doubling my rates. Okay, cool. Let's see if we can get the three of you on. Jody, can you turn your camera on?
I can try, yes. I don't know if I have one on the computer.
Maybe it's Kate. Kate, are you there? Is your camera on?
How do I do that?
Okay. On my screen at the bottom left, it says start video. There's a button to press.
Okay.
You turned it off. Oh, I think your camera might be facing the wrong direction or something. It looked like it was on a minute ago. Any luck, Jody?
I'm actually trying to open it on my iPad because the camera may work there.
Okay, cool. Oh, hello, Kate.
Hi, Rich.
Hey. All right, let's play. So you've done some fascinating things I didn't know this about you.
Yeah, I've had a wonderful, weird life.
Yeah. Who was the woman who you worked with on a presidential campaign?
It was in 1988.
Mm-hmm.
You probably never heard of her, Lenora Fulani. The media essentially refused to report on it.
I believe that. I believe that. And so I love that you were on a mission all the way back then.
Yes.
If I was going to play with you right now, if I was going to, the way I describe what I do is I get to mess with the thinking of people who've done extraordinary things. So often these are people who think in a way that their peers, their friends, their colleagues are in admiration of them. And sometimes we need someone who can mess with our thinking. So you've done extraordinary things that I could never do, I've never done. But if you're up for it, let's play with your thinking.
My mind is ready for messing.
Great. Jody, are you coming on? Let me just check if Jody's coming on.
Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to start the camera.
Okay.
I think I'm in.
All right, I'll let you work on that. And then was it Vicky who was the Chief Happiness Officer? Yeah, Vicky. So see if you can get on, raise your hand, or Sarah, perhaps you can talk to her on the chat and see if we can get her on as well. All right, Kate, let's play. So you're here for a reason.
Yes.
Why you're here? If I was going to play with you, what would make this an extraordinary conversation?
I want to. I know I have the courage. I've done a lot of things that most people would be afraid to do.
Absolutely.
And I want to have the courage to show my vulnerability and to bring my full self to this, as opposed to just this part of myself.
Yeah.
That I
what's the this?
Acceptable.
What's the this that you're talking about? I want to bring myself to this. What's that?
To coaching.
Well, yeah. I mean, I believe this about you. You're definitely someone who has a lot of courage. I see that. What's getting in the way of being more vulnerable and bringing your full self?
I think that it has to do with. I think I'm both I think a lot also of my. I think I should look a certain way to be an expert, to be a knower, to have the right to speak to people and to say, both help them and to also say what I have learned over the years.
Well, you're right. You should look a certain way.
Okay.
And the way you should look is the way you look. Look, I'm very lucky. In 2005, I lost my job as a high school teacher, and I'd been doing a lot of yoga, and I looked for a yoga retreat. I just thought I need something for my body and just to get away from England. I was running away, basically. But all the retreats were a week long, and I wanted to get away for a month. I was a bit humiliated, if I'm honest. Not a bit, I was humiliated. I'd never lost a job before. And I wrote to this yoga teacher who was running a retreat in Thailand for a month and said, look, I'll be honest, I don't want to be a yoga teacher, but this yoga teacher training you're doing is for a month, and I'd love to do it if you'd let me. And she wrote back with the words that changed my life. She said, Rich, some people want a yoga teacher who can put their ankles behind the back of their neck. And some people want a yoga teacher who's just a little bit in front of them on their journey. Mm-hmm. And that was it. I left England. I did the yoga teacher. I'm a trained yoga teacher. She never liked me very much because I would stand up there. People liked my classes because I tell these great stories, but it turned out I was supposed to be a storyteller, not a yogi. And so, it's okay if you're just a step or two ahead of people. You should look a certain way as a speaker and as a thought leader. You should look just the way you are because your people need you. I'm not the right teacher, coach, leader, thought leader for everyone. There's an article I've been writing which has the title, I find Rich Litvin repugnant, because I found that as a comment on a YouTube video of mine a while ago. And it's like, you know what? You're going to piss people off. I hope you do, Kate, because they're not your people. You want zeros and tens. The zeros are going to leave and the tens are going to love you. What we do, unfortunately, Facebook is insidious. It literally tells you to get likes. You don't want likes. You want people who like you. You want people who love you, and people who don't care about you, and nothing in between.
So I've been trained to get likes, both in my family. I'm also, I was trained professionally as an actress. Mm-hmm. And being liked and caring what people think about me, it's such a burden.
Yeah.
How do you?
Well, I don't know, because it's very, look, sometimes when I'm coaching, I'll go to the personal and sometimes I'll go to the universal.
Okay.
So in the personal, yeah, me too. I can write an article, post it on Facebook and get 300 likes and one comment that's negative, and I'll shut down for a week because it hurts me. Mm-hmm. Well, in the universal, any one of our ancestors who didn't care what people thought about them died. If maybe one or two generations back, that was not the case, but throughout most of human history, mm-hmm. If you upset your tribe, you were banished, you died. If you upset your village, you were banished, you died. If you upset people, then they would sometimes kill you. To be frank, throughout a lot of the planet today, it still happens. Yeah. It's a very human, part of human nature. I get it, be okay with it. Like that's a sign that you're human.
That's helpful.
Yeah,
that's helpful.
It is.
Yeah, to just accept that as opposed to fighting against it, which I can't. I know I can't win that fight. It's too strong.
Yeah, it's there for a reason. It's kept you safe, and it's there. What I tend to do is to say, "Oh, hey, thank you," voice in my head, which sounds like my mum or my dad if I listen carefully. You're just trying to keep me safe. I appreciate you, and I've got this. I'll call you when I need you, but I've got this.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Rich.
Thanks. Stay with us, Kate, because I might come back to you in a second. Yeah. Hey, Jody.
Hi there.
Oh, great. So I think Vic is still trying to get in. So Sarah, perhaps you can help out. I'm trying to keep a little eye on the side of that. Now, Jody, you're here for a reason, and now we get to play. What would make this an extraordinary conversation?
Absolutely. I enjoyed listening to you guys talk about her journey, and I'm on a journey right now, and I think it's big and scary, and the other part of me says, no, it's not. It's where you were meant to be. And I feel like I'm on the fence of, how do I know I'm doing the right thing?
Oh, well, so for me, I don't have a map. Most people come to you as a coach, they want a map. Like, where's the map, the plan that will get me from here to here? I don't have a map, I have a compass. And my compass sounds like this. I know I'm heading in the right direction when it's a little bit scary on that side and a little bit exciting on that side. And that fine line down the middle is my path. Too scary and I can't move. Too exciting, I'm not grounded. So when I hear you saying I'm on the fence, it's like, oh, no, you just got the metaphor wrong. You're on the line that says you're heading in the right direction.
Okay. I love that.
So tell me about the direction. Where are you heading? What do you want to create?
I'm creating a coaching company that it's my passion. It's who I am. It's where I'm from. It is my journey. And I think that I was put here to share that journey and to empower people and to make them believe anything is possible and they can be whatever. Like, if you can see it in your vision, if you can create that vision for yourself, you're already there, right? It's just figuring out that space. But
so tell me part of this story. Tell me the part of the story that makes you cry. And hi, Vicky, I'm glad you joined us.
Hi.
What's the part of the story that moves you to tears?
I think it was my childhood that was just crazy for me. But I think without that journey, I wouldn't be this person now.
Are you willing to share a little bit about that childhood?
I think it's so, wow. As a child, I was really bullied and I was picked on, and it was really impactful. And to grow up now and be in this space and be this person, it's just a testimony that anybody can become anything.
Yeah.
And literally anything.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
The moment you said, wow, and you felt the wave of emotion go across you,
Sure.
I was already there. And so, Kate, this is the reason you don't want to hold back from being vulnerable, because it's in that place that your people are drawn in. You see that in this moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Jody, I get it. You know, I got bullied a little bit at school. My mother got bullied in the workplace. Like, I really get that this is something that affects so many of us. And yet it can be transcended. And not only that, there can come a moment when you look back and you see, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I'm grateful because of the lessons I learned from here. And now what I'm hearing in you is, I want to teach them to other people.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of people that think that their circumstance or their finance or their situation, whatever it is a permanent detriment to them. And it's you can overcome anything, and you can be anything that you want to be. You can be any person, you can relocate, you can build things, you can unpack things. It's your journey. So I think one of my favorite things is helping people that feel stuck, or people that feel, maybe stuck is the right word, in their journey, or they feel like there is nothing more, or they can't expand anymore. And I'm always like, no, you can be really big.
Was that true for you? Was there a time when you were stuck in your journey?
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
Stuck or feeling stuck, sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Nice distinction. What have you done? I know some of the past now. What about the more recent past? What are some of the accomplishments you've done that if someone heard that story would then go, oh, now I see that story doesn't have to be a limitation?
Oh, I mean, I think that my personal journey has been really interesting. I have a 25-year-old and an 8-year-old. So I became a mom very young, and people said to me, your life is over. It's a wrap. Like, you just had a baby and you're very young. And I was able to put myself through undergrad and grad school and created this space for myself it was little tiny baby steps. But I now have a 25-year-old who is fantastic. I have an 8-year-old. I'm independent. I'm completely outside of the environment that I grew up in. My household was great. However, the area that we lived in was not fantastic. And to look back at that and to look at where I'm living now, that's what I'm saying. Anything is possible. Nothing is a life sentence.
First of all, I'm in admiration, because I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. I can't imagine going 17 years and then starting again. So huge admiration for you as a mum. How can I support you in this moment?
I think just the fact that you picked up on things that drive me I was not aware of are really cool. So I think that,
Go, carry on, please.
I was just gonna say, I think that piece of validation for me, like, solidifies, and kind of what you were sharing with Kate before was being vulnerable and being passionate are two things that make an incredible coach and make an incredible teacher, where it's like, you've seen the steps that people have walked through and you can foresee the future, right? Not foresee it, but I'm saying you can see for them, like, future paced with them, that things are possible.
So I think I want to take you back for a second. I'm conscious I'm interrupting you, but I'm interrupting for a reason. I felt your heart the moment you said, oh, and you felt that wave of emotion come across your body. What I encourage you to do is turn around for a little bit and go back to that story and draw out some of what it was like back then. Like, whoever it was said to me, in the thread, hey, I haven't got a track record. It sounds like you're only speaking to people with a track record, Rich. Everyone's got a track record. Right. So often for me, I work with a lot of powerful women, and I'll hear that, I wasn't doing much for these 6 years. I was raising my son. Holy shit. You took time out of your life as a businesswoman to raise your children. What an intention you set for yourself. What an amazing gift you gave to your children, because we don't honor that in our culture and society. And so for you to turn around and look at some of the things that you struggled with and bring them front and center and have that be your why and have that come out more powerfully, I think you'll discover even more enrolling you are than when you go off into the future and talk about what's possible for people.
Okay. Absolutely.
The way I describe it is you can't move people unless you're willing to feel moved.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jody. I'll come back to you both in a second. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Rich.
Hey.
How are you?
What have you got from listening to this so far? Tell me an insight you've had so far.
Well, I have to confess, when you asked me to jump on the video, I ran downstairs and put on some makeup. So I missed a little bit of it. So there's my confession.
Great. I love it. Thank you for being honest. So why are you here? Why'd you say yes? Why'd you get on the call in the first place? Why'd you raise your hand? You didn't have to. You could have backed out at any point, and yet you're here.
Yeah, for me, I have this massive passion of creating a workplace where people enjoy to work. And I do it for so many organizations, but there's always I feel there is a hesitation of, well, can people be happy at work? Is that really a thing? And I was lucky enough to help build a company in London where we did that, and it was so addictive. And it's absolutely a thing, but I guess I still feel torn as to, am I allowed to feel good about feeling that we can create a happy place to work, or do I get caught up in this whole, happy at work just feels a bit fluffy and Mary Poppins-like, and that's not really what we're talking about.
First of all, what's the phrase? It's not bragging if you've done it. I really brag some more about what you've created. That's amazing that you've done that. One of my friends is Robbie Richmond, who was the chief culture officer at, was it Zappos? Absolutely. It's one of the most important things at work. Like you might need, what you actually need is a little bit of translation, because if you talk about being a chief happiness officer in the corporate world, not everyone will get that. You can mute yourself, Jody. But a translator, well, let me translate for you. I get off this call and someone says, who are you speaking to? I would say I was speaking to Vicky. Here's what she does. Vicky helps leaders in organizations build a team that are focused on a mission. And when a team are focused on a mission, they make more of a difference in the world. When you make more of a difference in the world, people trust you, your customers, your clients, and people trust you, you make more money. So what Vicky does is help organizations raise the bottom line. And she does it in a very unorthodox way. She does it by helping people to have more fun at work, to literally be happier. She's called a chief happiness officer. Nobody pays her to be happy. They pay her because happiness is a result and it's also the cause. And it's what allows the organization to make more of a difference, more of an impact, more money, and have more fun while they do it.
Wow, I sound cool.
Because you are. Sometimes we just need someone who can translate for us. We can't always do this for ourselves. I'm very good at doing this for others, and it dawned on me a couple of days ago, oh, I need someone to do this for me right now. But yeah, I mean, and owning that is really important. It really is. And so thank you for doing what you're doing. It's really needed.
Thank you. I love it. It's who I am.
It is. It is. I appreciate all three of you, actually. I like that, the context for me today was I had this vision for the next 25 years of my life, the way that I want to make a difference, the way I'm choosing to make a difference. I have this community I've created of people who are up to something interesting, up to something edgy. One of the ground rules for 4PC is that it's a place where you can never get too big and never get too messy. So what we say is, you come into 4PC, you put humility to one side. It's okay to brag about your successes, to be proud of them. Bragging has a bad rap. It's great to be proud of the things you've accomplished. And it's also a place where you can never get too messy. It's a place where you can be safe to share where your struggles are and where life was great last year or last month and now you're in a slump, because life has cycles and it's okay to be in all of that. And so thank you for sharing with me, each of you, a little bit of the background where there's been some struggles and where they've led to the next success and where there's been another place where you've got stuck. And it's why I started this entire conversation today with the story about myself and my son. This idea that my own coach had to point out to me, that I could say to Kaleo that daddy's a mistake maker, and that superheroes make mistakes. And it was such a relief. I mean, it's what I teach, but I'm too close to it to see with my own son. It's why coaches need support too, that, oh yeah, that is what I do. It's what I do with my clients. I create a safe space for them to fly and to screw up, and sometimes both at the very same time. So thank you, each of you, for joining me today. Will each of you drop me a note and let me know? You can write to hello@richlitvin.com and let me know what happens in the next step of the journey. I'd love to know. And for those of you who are listening, thank you, all three of you. For those of you who are listening and watching, if 4PC is something that speaks to you, drop me a note personally, hello@richlitvin.com, and I'll write back to you. And if you want to learn more, go to 4pc.expert to find out more about what we do. Thanks for being with us today, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.